Ryan, I have a question. I see that the sandboxes in some of the labs are focused mainly on automating and programmability with Cisco technologies. I see also an open source sandboxes here. Can you elaborate more? Can you tell us more about what is included and what is actually DevNet is doing with open source?
I would happily. I love talking about this. And in fact, this could be a call in and of itself. Even at DevNet, we realize that we have to embrace elements that are outside of what might be like, traditional Cisco solutions. I mean, for example, we've embraced things like Git for, Git as our repo. I mean, of course we're going to do that. But where it makes sense, we actually bring in open source tools. That is a part of our methodology, of our philosophy. We want to present people with real world experiences that they're going to find out there, and of course talk about a lot of these tools that are available to developers. Open source is a big part of our philosophy. You can even see it in parts of our DevNet certification program. I think it's in the IoT. We have a dedicated space for open source. And that one is focused on using a tool like Freeboard, which is an open source tool for visualization. So where we can and where it makes sense and where our community tells us, we bring in open source. We bring in open source projects because we know that that's a big part of being a developer in the world. This stuff doesn't happen in a bubble. I'll head on back over here. And again, thanks for just kind of taking this journey with me. We've been kind of just walking left to right here. So after, we talked about training and then, putting those skills into practice here in the sandbox. The code exchange is then when you can find or share code that you may want to use. So this is that like collaborative part of that journey. DevNet has 500,000 developers around the world that are connected to the DevNet website. And so here is where you can find code that this community is sharing. And so you can find code in a variety of different languages. You can see the language in which it's being featured. You can see the technology and how it's being sourced. But what's really cool, and I think some of you have already seen this too, is you can also see the background on a specific line of code that has been uploaded into our code exchange too. We're not just like, oh, here's the code, here's the repo that you can download this from, but we show you what this is, why, how to use it. And you can even start to see, oh, these are some contributors that you'd like to follow. We were talking about Hank Preston earlier, about Hank Preston's video series that's available on this on the DevNet website. You can also see Hank Preston's contributions in the code exchange. So you can follow technologies that you're interested in our code exchange and see what types of code is there. You can see what type of coding languages you want to follow, but you can also see authors that you want to connect with. So it's a really great resource. My boss, Mandy Whaley, she told me, some of the greatest coders, they aren't always writing lines of code. They're not always starting at zero. In fact, most of the time they're building off of other people's code. This is a great place to make that jump, to find code that you want to build off of. To kind of go back to that start now area, if you're looking for code, even again, this is Hank's Python samples. You can find that in this section.
Awesome. If I find something useful there, can I just use it? What about different licenses and so on?
Yeah, you can, if you find the code that's here, and I apologize if I'm not understanding the question fully, but yes, you can use it. In fact, let me go back really quick, because I'd like to show you kind of how things end up inside of our code exchange. When you go to submit the code, it actually comes into the DevNet team. And so the DevNet team, we take a look at it. We take a look at what it is that you're going to be uploading. We actually have rules about kind of what this is and kind of what this code means and how you can use it. So again, we spend our time on our side kind of determining what code should be in there. We're always kind of assessing the things that are in the code exchange, but it's built for people to come in and explore, to find code that they may want to use or build upon. And again, we do our part to kind of check that code out. We obviously can't fully vet every single line of code that's there. But we do a lot of work to make sure that it's worthwhile code for people to engage with.
And as we go through these sessions, right, it's important that everyone who's listening knows that DevNet, any net, right, is not expecting you to learn how to code from scratch every time, right? You learn to be resourceful, use what you need, give back, right, to the DevNet code exchange or GitHub, whatever you decide to use, but be resourceful with your code. You don't need to learn everything from scratch. Sorry, go ahead, Wolfram.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a good, really great point. So yeah, this is our code exchange, and again, to Derek's point there, you don't necessarily always have to start at zero. Often there is someone who has been coding, who has been thinking very similar to you, maybe even thought of a similar solution that you might have come up with. This is a great place to go to kind of see what else is out there, see if it's something that's applicable for you to use. So this last section that we have here is our ecosystem exchange. And I'm going to click that because, again, here we've trained our way. We've put our skills as we've been learning into practice. We have uploaded or found code that will help us. And then the ecosystem exchange is really how people have put this code into their businesses. So you can actually find applications or code or even use cases for how people have actually taken code, taken Cisco APIs and applied them for a business outcome. And I know that that's like very businessy speak, but often we're doing all of this work to achieve something, to make our jobs easier or to save money or to really make something work better operationally. So you can see those use cases here, like live examples. Like this is a partner here that these were the APIs that they used. This was the problem that they had, and then this was the solution that they built using that. So this is a great place to find inspiration and examples of how people are using code all the time to solve problems. And not just generically, oh, I want to automate this system, or generically, oh, network programmability. But no, here's like a real world example of how someone took some APIs and built a solution to make that work.
That's good information. That is, yeah. Okay.
So again, it all goes back to like finding examples. I know personally that's what I like to do. I often will work from the assumption until it's disproven that someone else might have been thinking about something similarly to myself, and that I want to see what else might be out there, what else someone might have been working on. This is a great part of the website for you to be able to do that, to be able to find really good examples of how other businesses are also tackling problems that you might also have. And you can search our ecosystem exchange in that way. You can search against technologies. You can search against specific listings that are here. And again, we're always breaking things up, whether it's the training or the sandboxes or the code exchange, or even these solutions that we have listed here by the specific technology area. So from whatever road you're traveling, we have it broken up. So that way it's easy to navigate.
And this is good information.
Yeah, cool. So the last thing that I really want to show, because it's something that's right at the top of here, is, again, the website overall, you can get that complete journey kind of moving left to right up here. You can also find support. You can at the top bar here, it's a really great area to visit because, again, it's going to call up a Webex Teams room where you're going to find DevNet SMEs, you're going to find DevNet dev advocates, you're even going to find people like me that'll be available there to answer questions if you have them. We have an events tab as well too, so you can see if you want to come and meet us, talk to us. If you want to find out if we're holding an event that's near you that you can participate in, we have a list of every single event that we have. And then finally, we have two new sections. We have our DevNet certifications section. So if you're interested in the new DevNet certification program, which is like a software focused version of our the software half of our certification portfolio. I'm sure of course everyone on this call knows CCNA, CCNP, CCIE. We now have our new DevNet Associate and DevNet Professional and future DevNet Expert that, like our existing Cisco certs, they all focus on validating hardware skills and network infrastructure skills. These new DevNet certs, they validate software skills and at the exact same levels that Associate, Professional, and Expert.
Awesome.
And we also have our DevNet automation area, which is very similar to the type of experience you can find in Code Exchange or even Ecosystem Exchange, where you can see live use cases of automation in action. You can actually view very specific use cases around journeys that people have taken to use this technology to achieve an automation goal. So if you want to find, yeah, exactly. Like if you want to see how this first one is great, how to use Ansible to troubleshoot Ospf issues, we have these all available for your reference. So again, if you're just starting and you need to get off the ground, we got something for you. But if you're like, I really need examples of how to implement, we have that too.
I see. Actually, you organize it in crawl, walk, run category. I believe. Would that be something denoting advanced, beginner, medium, something like that?
Yeah, it's similar to that. We talk about it with walk, run, fly, right? And it's really based around an organization or even an engineer's perspective of what they want to achieve, which is basically like if you were to look at it as a spectrum, like walk, run, and fly. And on the walking side, it's you want to automate some things, but you still want to have a certain amount of human control over those elements. That's a lot of the walking use cases. If you're more in the middle and you're interested in having the network provide a greater amount of automated actions, but you still want to have certain amounts of human connection points, run is a really great option. And if you're looking to move into more of a fully automated experience, that's where you're into that fly area. So we really want to try to meet people where they're at or meet companies where they're at. We're not trying to say, oh no, you got to jump all the way to the end. You got to be fully automated to use any of this stuff. If you don't want to do that, that's cool. If you want to just start in that walk area, that's also fine. We want to get people moving.
Well, with that, I mean, I'm challenging every CCIE out there because, I mean, this information is just, I mean, you can't go wrong just going to the DevNet site and going from, walking to your flying. So there's no excuse not to become familiar with DevNet, and there's no excuse not to even tackle these certifications that are coming out. So I just want to put that out there as a challenge.
Oh yeah, good deal. But yeah, again, I feel like we know this on our side and we don't talk about it enough. All of this is free. We really want to just help people. So whatever part of that journey that you're on, we want to be that resource. My boss likes to say that DevNet is the single resource for everything developer at Cisco, and we really try to be. So if we want to be that stepping stone if you want to achieve something, whether it is from a personal goal in learning or it's a professional goal in implementation. We want to be there. And if there's something that you see that we could be doing, we want to hear that too.
What's the website again? How do we get there?
Developer.cisco.com. It is that that is the site.
Hey Ryan, I want to thank you. I know the team here wants to thank you. I want to thank everybody for actually coming on board and looking at the journey that Ryan just laid out for us. And is a challenge to everyone watching this video. There's no excuse now. Developer@cisco.com. All right. Hey, thanks guys, and catch you on the flip side.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Great.
Ryan, hey Ryan, I want to thank you for your time, man. That was great. God, I feel like we could have went 4 hours.